Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you very much for coming. This session, the title will be Creating Fertile Grounds for Startup Growth, Stories from the Singapore Innovation Ecosystems. So thank you for all the panelists to joining. And my name is Yuko Ueno. I will have a little bit of introduction about myself. Thank you so much for coming over. I am from Levanest, Singapore. I am a director of Levanest, Singapore. And Levanest, what is Levanest? Okay, so Levanest is a company started from 20 years ago, which the headquarters is in Japan, but also have this, okay, hi, thank you. We have a we have another corporate, Levanest, in Singapore, Malaysia, Philippines, also US and UK. So we've been nurturing lots of science and technology from the academic side, and what our next challenge, what we are doing, is to bridge between Japanese technology and Southeast Asia's new technology and also business together. And the aim is not just making a business, but we want to solve a social issues. So just having a business is not enough, especially for the next generation. But we want to know, we want to understand the exact what kind of social issues is going on. And at the same time, we need a right technology to be together to solve these issues. However, one technology is not enough. Sometimes very new but very old, those type of new technology have to be gathered together. That's why we Levanest, as a communicator, we bond lots of technology and also entrepreneurs' ideas together so that we can tackle a deep issues. So that was a short introduction about myself. But I would like to pass it over to Fabian so that you can introduce about yourself a little bit more.
Thank you very much to Yuko-san. Hi everyone, my name is Fabian Tan. Minasan hajimemashite, Fabian Tan to moshimasu. I'm the regional director of Enterprise Singapore, based in Japan. In fact, my office is just a stone's throw away from here in Marunouchi as well. And we're right opposite Tokyo Station. So what we do on a day-to-day basis is really helping to connect the Singapore and Japan startup ecosystem. So in fact, a lot of our entrepreneurs, they arrive in Narita, Haneda, they get straight into Tokyo, Narita Express into Tokyo, right? And then they meet us. And a lot of times, I think we help them with different types of solutioning. Linkages with the incubators is very important. In fact, when I met Yuko-san, I recalled about the last encounter I had with Yuko-san, which was on the ship.
Oh yeah,
That was like a very memorable ship journey because it was Levanest, which was Singapore's Global Innovation Alliance GIA partner.
Right.
And we actually set sail off from Takeshiba, which is not so far from here. It was a 2-hour journey on the cruise in the Tokyo Bay. And I remember her founder and CEO, Maru-san, said, there's no turning back, you can't leave now.
Right.
You just have to be with us. But I must say that we have not regretted. We've been very happy, very gratified, and satisfied with the whole journey with Levanest, and along with our Singapore startups like Travin from Kras, and we have a few other startups that have really benefited a lot from the linkages between the innovation ecosystem, and also coming into Japan, having this landing pad in the center of garage at the Skytree, Tokyo.
Yes.
So those are really some things that we are very thankful for. And I look forward to sharing more stories together with my co-panelists today about our Singapore innovation startup ecosystem. Yoroshiku onegaishimasu. Thank you.
Yoroshiku onegaishimasu. Thank you. So just to add on a little bit, Center of Garage is one of the incubation place which Levanest is running, but it's only specialized for manufacturing garage. So especially for deep tech startups who have to do some manufacturing, we have a specific, just for deep tech startup to do their manufacturing in Center of Garage, which is right under Skytree. Thanks for introducing.
Thank you.
So I'll pass it on to Travin. So.
Hi, everyone. My name is Travin Singh. I'm the founder and CEO of Kras Group. I'm also a lot younger than a lot of people here. So we entered Japan back in about 18 months ago. And our office is not a stone throw away. It's actually really far in Osaka at a Hankyu Hanshin building. So Kras Group essentially comes in to solve a lot of our food waste problem worldwide. by creating more fun, consumer-driven products. So we do upcycle bread and rice surplus into beer. And we also do upcycle fruits and vegetable surplus into sparkling soda, which we actually have here. So the branding is called Crust and Crop. Crop is a non-alcohol beverage. So yeah, it's been an interesting journey for us so far in Japan. I would say a lot of the help that we've gotten definitely is from Leave a Nest and also from Enterprise Singapore. And I've also known Alterpac about 3 years ago, with regards to, we are essentially in the same industry, but different product point. And yeah, really nice to be here. Really looking forward to learning more from the panelists also today.
Thank you, Travin. So do you like to further introduce about this crop?
Yeah, so we have Crop here. If you guys want to try some of Crop, we actually have a booth at Hall D on the 6th floor. We actually have more Crop for everybody here. And anybody going to the Deloitte networking session event later today, we also do have our Crust Lager there. Unfortunately, they don't allow us to have it at our booth, but yeah, you guys can go and try some of our product offering. For this one, we work with JA Group, Japan Agriculture. We also upcycle Amanatsu, and we add honey from Japan also, and it's a sparkling soda beverage. A lot of our product point is to look into food waste, definitely. We upcycle. But we also don't try to overcomplicate a lot of our recipe and formulation because we want to be able to plug and play into most of the manufacturing capabilities worldwide. So all of our products that we actually sell in Japan is while upcycling Japanese surplus, and it's for the Japanese palate also.
So maybe we can try here?
Oh, cheers.
Cheers. Okay.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Itadakimasu.
Maybe this is a photo moment as well. Crop.
The flavor
Yeah.
is Amanatsu honey. Very nice.
It's very refreshing.
Refreshing, that's the right word.
Very nice. And I mean, drinking it just gives me an added warm glow that I'm actually doing my part for the world.
Yeah.
Sustainability and really recycling food waste.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's also one of the ways we want to bring a lot of the concepts into the world. A lot of food waste companies are usually very B2B focused, whereas for us it's more consumer focused. We want to be able to educate consumers with regards to what we do as a company and what they can also do with regards to just building a community around food waste valorization.
So for me, drinking 1 cup of this crop, how much of food waste am I upcycling?
I need to get to my data sheet, but anywhere between, probably a can of either beer or non-alcohol beverage, we will upcycle anywhere between, I think, around 15 to 18 grams of surplus food.
I feel like I'm contributing to the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we were recently in Hakuba together with Travin, and we met some of the civil servants from there. And I think they were very happy to hear about the story that we're bringing the food waste of Tokyo into Hakuba, upcycled with Singapore's technology, and then mixed with Hakuba water in the brewery.
Clear, nice.
And really coming up with new products that can then be brought back to Tokyo for sales. And there's really a circularity here.
Right.
And also at the same time, there's a SDG positioning.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we actually engaged one of production facility in Hakuba.
So that's for the beer?
Yes, it's for the beer. Yep. For the non-alcohol beverage, we actually work closely with a lot of the brands that you guys know. It's Cheerio.
Great, thank you very much. So maybe I'll pass it on to Steven in terms of circular
Thank you.
economy.
Yeah. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Steven Tan. I'm the Chief Operating Officer of Alterpac Private Limited. So as the name of our company suggests, we are into alternative packaging. So similar to what Travin is doing, we are also upcycling spent grains and also using agricultural waste to make currently, we are making what we call bento boxes, and our products are 100% organic, biodegradable, and home compostable. I also just want to say it's great to be back in Japan again. Over 30 years ago, I graduated from a Japanese university.
Really? Which one?
Which one?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. I'm a graduate of National Defense Academy. Nihon no Boei Dagaku no Sochigoku desu. Yoroshiku onegaishimasu.
Yoroshiku onegaishimasu.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Looking forward to the discussion today.
So maybe, Stephen, could you a little bit explain more about what kind of, so you're making a food packaging, but using the food waste.
Yes.
What type of food waste do you use?
Yes. So as part of the concept of circular economy, our founder and CEO believes that we want to make the full use of all available raw materials. So one of our raw material is what we call spent grains. So for example, beer breweries, when they have brewed the beer, the leftover malt, wheat, and barley, that is what we call spent grains. So those are one of our raw materials. We also use agricultural waste. So for example, when the rice farmer has harvested the rice, the leftover stalk, the grass, these are the long fibers. We process it with our in-house developed technology. We make it into a new materials. So Autopex is a new materials company. And our material is able to be molded into any shape or size. Currently, we have made it into takeaway bento boxes because we want to proliferate the market with our eco-friendly, home compostable products so that we can also help to reduce single-use plastic waste.
Interesting. So you're making your business in Singapore right now?
Yes, our headquarters is in Singapore. Our R&D started in Singapore, but we have since expanded. Currently, one range of our products is being manufactured in China, but we are aiming to export to all over the world, specifically to the more advanced economies, Japan, Australia, Canada, UK, and EU. Mainly because in these economies, we find that there's more consumer awareness of the need for eco-friendly products. And in some of these territories, there is also legislation that has also banned the use of single-use plastics. So in terms of market opportunity, it is a good timing for us to bring our products to the market in these countries. Yeah.
Great, thank you very much. So today on the stage, we have Enterprise Singapore, which is one of the Singapore government, and Enterprise Singapore have been running a program for Singaporean startups to come over to Japan, which in Japan side, we Leave a Nest are now having a partnership. But at the same time, from last year, we started a new program bringing Japanese startup to Singapore market right now. So we're having both vice versa attraction with Japan and Singapore. And for today, we have two startups from Singapore. But very interesting is, so two of the startups are eco-friendly, environment-friendly startups. So in Singapore, are those eco-friendly environmental startups in a good move? I mean, are they hot right now?
Yeah, I think, I thought that's a very good question, Ueno-san. And I just want to share that, you know, when I saw Stephen and Stephen Tan, my father is also Stephen Tan. And my father works my father used to work in the Ministry of Defense. And he has been in the Ministry of Defense all his career life. But why am I talking about this? Because I heard about you talking about you from Boei Daigaku. And right now in Singapore, in fact, our Prime Minister, in one of the National Day rally, he mentioned that climate change is one of the big issues in Singapore right now. And we need to not only look at military defense, we need to also look at climate defense. And what's climate defense? Well, there are many forms and shapes of it, right? On one end, you're looking at how do we erect sea walls to make sure that the rising sea levels do not inundate a lot of our very small land area. We are like the size of Tokyo Nijusanku, 23 districts of Tokyo, very small city. But at the same time, I think it's not only about just sea walls, because it's also about kind of like the lifestyle of people, right? So for example, during the Corona period, it was a very tough period where a lot of us were working from home. And when we work from home, we don't eat out. And when we don't eat out, we have to either cook at home, or if there's no time to cook, we either use Grab food, or I know in Japan there's Uber, there's Demaikan.
Yes.
So that's where I think the part where Stephen comes in, Autopex, that's very important, really in terms of the alternative type of packaging. And maybe it makes me feel less bad when I have something that's, you know, takeaway food. But I think that's just anecdotal, but let's go on to a little bit more at the ecosystem level. I do see a lot more climate-focused funds coming in, VCs, incubators, and they're looking at how do we actually go through the whole life cycle be it in different industry, and see how do we reduce the carbon emission. We have some companies that are looking at carbon tracking platform as well. Scope 1, Scope 2, and I think Scope 3 is the hardest one. And really through technology, through analytics, and through data, you inform the customer the origins of the product, the carbon footprint associated with their lifestyle consumption. Many of the utilities companies are very interested in this trend as well in Singapore right now. So I would say it's rather, I would say a pervasive trend. And maybe just one more point, since you asked about this question, is in the B2B sector, we're seeing a lot of movement as well. So if you look at like some of our industries in, say, the chemical industry, semiconductor, biomedical sciences, well, what is common is that they have factories, they have processes, they have manufacturing, right? And underlying this, you need a lot of data. You collect the data, and you see how do you optimize through factory energy management systems, FEMS, through building energy management systems. And I think we see a lot of innovation coming up in this space as well. And also in the data center space where Singapore, currently we host about 50% of the data center capacity in Southeast Asia. And, but Singapore is actually a very hot and warm country, not the ideal climate for data centers, but at the same time, many companies locate their data centers in Singapore. So we need the innovative IoT companies, the green data center technology companies, the data center infrastructure management companies that can then kind of contribute towards reducing the carbon footprint and at the same time maintaining the sustainable journey for these industries.
Right, thank you very much. So in terms of B2B, this is a question for Stephen. So when you sell your upcycled packages, your customers mainly going to be a corporate who will use your package?
At this stage of our development, we hope to work with at the B2B model with major wholesalers, retailers, who will be able to take our products in bulk. Clearly, while we ramp up our manufacturing, it is also very difficult for us to say that we work on the B2C model, not sustainable in the short term. If I may just also swing the topic a little bit to what we also want to say to ESG, which is to thank, for us, startups in Singapore, we say that it's never easy to be a startup anywhere in the world, but we are lucky that in Singapore we have quite a lot of support from ESG and other government entities. There have been various grants, and especially for new companies like Autopax, when we try to reach out to new markets, including Japan, there are programs like GIA, Global Innovation Alliance. There's also something called the MRA, Market Readiness Assistance, where grants are provided to startups like us, where after we have done our research and we feel that, hey, maybe there's an opportunity here, specifically for Autopax. We know that in Japan, there's a lot of takeaway bento meals. And we know that Japan as a society is also very conscious about garbage management. So if we have a solution that can reduce, if not remove, plastic containers, plastic waste, and the fact that our containers can be biodegradable into home compost, I think that allows for a very total solution to solve this plastic waste problem. Maybe Travin can also share with us some of your experiences about the various grants that Crust Group has accessed under ESG and other government entities.
Yeah, sure. I think before I answer that question, interestingly, Fabian mentioned earlier that it was military defense is not just the most important thing, right? Climate defense is where we are focusing on right now. Interestingly, when we were in the waiting room, Stephen and I were talking, and we were formerly both from the Navy. So essentially, we were both from military defense, and then now we are both in a company that basically focuses on climate defense. Sorry, okay.
Just jump in. It's a coincidence. We just found out maybe 2
I don't.
ago.
This is my first time meeting him as well. So
Although Travin is a little bit younger, but our previous career, our previous professional life were in the military. I think coincidence, but I think it shows that the discipline that under the training that we have received in the military is definitely applicable to running startups. We have a strategy, we have a game plan,
Yeah.
we execute it, and we have something what we call in the military world, OODA loop, right? We observe, orientate ourselves, make a decision, we act, and if we have to, we will redo this whole loop again so that there is a continuous assessment of the situation, no one size fits all. So I think it's just a small coincidence, but yeah, we can have a drink later on.
Nurture the entrepreneurship
Also very
mind.
happy to hear that the name Stephen Tan seems to be a very popular name.
Yeah. No, I think, in Singapore, like we all, there's what we call national service, right? It's military service duty when we turn 18. And, but I really think that, for climate defense, it's not something when you turn 18, then you do it. You do it, it's a lifestyle that you build, inbuilt from the start,
Decision making, everything.
Decision making, yeah.
Very interesting. Military might be one of the entrepreneurship training.
Yeah, maybe you should join the military as well. Okay, sorry, so back to the question.
Back to you,
So we definitely use the MRA grant when we entered Japan. That's one of the support that we got from the government in Singapore. And GIA was also one of the programs that we were a part of. But I think our journey did not start with these. When we started the brand, a few months later, COVID happened. So through COVID, we knew we could not sell because F&B was essentially shut. So we focused a lot of our efforts into joining different startup programs worldwide, not just in Japan. And then also making sure that we beef up our R&D and then also explore like a second market because we know that Singapore essentially is still a relatively small market, really good for investor relations and open innovation hub and all, but scale market could potentially be elsewhere. So then we were part of Hack Osaka, Startup Bootcamp Osaka, and also XTC Japan. And one thing we realized that our brand was winning awards in different programs, and the Japanese, I guess, market or consumers were really finding our solution more attractable, and essentially that led to our decision to say, okay, let's go and explore the Japan market a bit more. Then we started working with the Ministry of Agriculture, METI, and a few other government organizations. JETRO have been a really good help for us so far, both the Tokyo and the Singapore offices. Then ESG, Enterprise Singapore also came into the picture and really helped us. And of course, Leave a Nest, who's also one of our investors right now. So I think this was about 2 months ago. I was on a Nagano trip with Fabian and a few other Singaporean companies. And yeah, like Fabian is one person who I've never seen him sell harder than my own team about my own brand. But within like Nagano, we were meeting like governors, mayors and all, right? And it's nice to know that someone who is, he basically did not need to do what he did, but he still went out of his way to share more about the brand and the idea because he really believed in what we did. So that was really, really heartening because when times get difficult, right, essentially these are the days that will help you, say that, okay, maybe tomorrow could be better. Maybe
I just add on. First, I'm very humbled by what Travin said because, I mean, for us, we're just doing our duty. I'm paid with taxpayers' money, right? So I need to help our startups. So that's where I come from. But I mean, on the bigger scale of thing, if I really observe like Singapore and Japan SJ relationships, economic relationships. So last year, we celebrated our 55th year anniversary in bilateral relations. And Singapore and Japan, we are really close partners for a long, long time. We have what I call SJ 1.0. That was in the 1960s, 1970s, when actually Singapore was a low-cost manufacturing location. So at that time, we had many of our Japanese corporates, like Mitsui Chemicals, Sumitomo, Teijin, Seiko, some of the big Japanese day-to-day names, the Panasonics, at that time was Matsushita. They set up manufacturing nodes in Singapore. And it was really to capitalize on low-cost labor. And then as we move on to the year 1990s, year 2000s, we see Singapore emerging more as a regional control tower, Chiiki Honbu, regional headquarters for the Japanese companies. And they will have Japanese executives stationed in Singapore, and then they fly in and out to Jakarta, Kuala Lumpur, Ho Chi Minh. But then you know, things change, especially with coronavirus coming up. Like, I think some of my Japanese counterparts realized that, hey, being in Tokyo, I can actually contact Jakarta easily on Zoom. You know, and I think, yeah, we have Tonari, right?
Yeah.
Tonari, Live and Nest. It's a video conferencing system, but it makes it feel as if you're in the same room. I can be in Tokyo, but contacting with Singapore as if I'm in the same room. So then what's the value of Singapore for our Japanese corporates? So I've been really pondering over this question, reflecting, talking to many people over the last 2 years since I've been to Japan. I talked to many colleagues in Live and Nest as well. And one of the conclusions I had was really SJ 3.0, Singapore Japan 3.0, is a new story, a new chapter in our economic relations, where we're looking at startups, sustainability, digital transformation, and co-innovation. Japanese corporates with Singapore startups, Singapore corporates with Japanese startups, where we partner with each other based on our common needs.
Right.
It can be productivity issues, it can be circular economy, it can be aging population, it can be rural revitalization, Chiki Kaseka, which is a very big topic and tied back to Nagano that we just talked about earlier. So I am really looking forward to the more conversations that we'll be having during these few days at City Tech Tokyo with Live and Nest, with our startup partners, and really also with our friends here in the audience as well. So look forward to connecting.
Yes, thank you very much. And from Japan side, it's very interesting that nowadays lots of Japanese startups are looking into Southeast Asia market because it's impossible to grow. I mean, it's going to be there's going to be like a top. Once you started in Japan, the number of people will be saturated. So only stay in Japan will be not enough. That's why there's even a startup, even it's just started business, and even the product is not yet done yet. Lots of startups are now going into Southeast Asia market. And for the first step, Singapore is very helpful, maybe that will be the very good word, to tap into the first place, because in terms of funding, and also there's lots of corporates who are open to Japanese startups. So as strategically, there's one way that Japanese startup and Japanese corporate will be collaborating with Singaporean corporate and startups together. And then not only in Singapore, but we can now expand more into Southeast Asia countries, starting using Singapore as a hub.
Yes.
Yes, so I think that's really good strategy, and this is one of the ways that Japanese corporate can collaborate with the Singapore. But at the same time, now I want to hear from maybe Travin again, but you already have you started some business in Japan. You already have some product. You're looking for lots of collaboration. But do you have any like a struggle or difficulty, especially? There's lots of Japanese corporate right here. So if you can tell us what kind of tips we should have in our mind to collaborate with Singaporean, especially startups.
Do we have enough time?
Oh yeah, we have 15 minutes left, okay?
So I think in the 18 months we have been here, setting up Osaka and entity, and then having a Japanese team as well and building products. We've actually done collaborations with Aman Tokyo, with Ritz-Carlton Osaka. We are working directly with the government officials at Kitakyushu and Okinawa. Kitakyushu is to upcycle the tomato that you guys, that Kitakyushu actually has, into beer, and then Okinawa is the rice. And then Aman and Ritz-Carlton is bread. And you know, we also right now already signed an MOU with a large corporate that I cannot name until it's like really, really finalized. But these are all really great progress that we have made from a POC standpoint. We haven't really accelerated into the Japanese market 100%. We're really only at POC stage. That's why we're raising our pre-series A so that we can scale. But unfortunately, some of the challenges that we have faced is not really partnership, it's not really collaboration, it's also not really funding. It's license. You know, so unfortunately, we have actually worked with, we've done all this collaboration, we have shown that we can do really a lot and work with much larger customers here and our partners here in Japan, but we haven't got our alcohol license yet. So a lot of our collaboration now goes through our contract manufacturer and OEM partner, which in itself also means there's less control. So we have been trying to, I guess, look to see that hopefully by this year we can get our license, because that will definitely accelerate a lot of our growth, getting our wholesale license for the alcohol side. But in the interim, while we are doing that, we actually are launching crops soon also. And we launched it in Natural Lawson's actually. I think in about 80 over locations across Tokyo for now, just as a POC. And then we're also definitely looking, we're having more discussion with other companies around Japan, but mostly within the Honshu Island. So that's where our main distribution will be first. So I would say that's the biggest challenge, because when I meet investors, they will say, oh, but I can't give you a large check size because you don't have your license. But when I meet the license, I mean, the tax office, they'll be like, oh, but you need to have a certain amount of investment in the company, then, maybe it strengthens your chance. So it's a chicken and egg situation. So we're trying to manage both, but I would say that is the only thing that's lacking within what we do as a company.
Right. So today we have more food tech, eco-tech startups, but regulations and licenses are always the challenge if foreign startups want to make a market in a different country. So in that terms, for example, if you can collaborate with a Japanese corporate who already have some licenses or who knows the rules of all the regulations, would that be helpful?
So the tax office here is quite complex. There is various different types of licenses for each. Anything that you want to do, there's a different variation to it. So we're still trying to find out more information, but we have done so many collaborations so far. And our model is really B2B. So okay, I'll give you guys a different perspective of how we work with corporates. Yes, we sell the crust and the crop standalone brand, but we actually, the bulk of our revenue that we actually make both in Singapore and potentially in Japan will be B2B, where we have you guys, I mean, I'm sure you have heard of software as a subscription or subscription as a service, SaaS model. We came up with a VAS model, right? Valorization as a service, where we work with big supermarkets, big hotel groups, big airline companies and F&B groups. They all waste a lot of surplus. We come in as the R&D partner. We upcycle their food waste, and we create a house brand for them. So that's our B2B model, we can come in and make products for your Lawson's, your Family Mart, Itochu's, your Jerry's, etc., etc. And on top of that, earlier, Fabian also mentioned about data. That's our next stage in our company. On the 1st of April, we have already started calculating the amount of methane emissions and CO2 emissions that we reduce as a company. And on the 1st of April, we are also going to start putting those data on all the invoices when we collaborate with a partner. And how that helps our partner is through the data, they can use it either as credit or for their own information, or they can collate across the year and plug and play into their ESG report after. So these are stuff that we are doing from a B2B standpoint, but to answer your question, we have not had the opportunity to be able to use our partner's license as our own. And even if we could, there'll be a lot of administrative stuff in between, and there will be a lot less control.
Right.
So we rather downsize the company, wait until we get our license, and then we can go at full speed.
But still, I feel like there's several options. For example, make some joint venture together with an experienced Japanese company, or maybe other ways. But having an experienced partner in that specific field, I'm sure it will be a little bit of help for you.
Yes, definitely. So we have been looking at some manufacturers who need a bit of help. And then that's where Crust can come in and partner on a JV with the manufacturer. And then essentially we can start using their license as our own also, because we have a share in the company.
Right.
So that's one way that we have been looking at, but we haven't found any solution yet.
Well, maybe we can help together.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you.
Yes. And at the same, this is a question for Stephen. So you have not yet come into Japanese market, and I feel like you're starting to feel there should be some kind of challenges to go into Japanese market. But do you feel it still attractive to come into Japan?
Definitely. And I think we will be adopting the model of working with suitable partners that are already established in Japan. I mentioned earlier on about our bento boxes. So certainly we'll be looking forward to working with companies 7-Eleven, Lawson, Family Mart, people who are familiar with the requirements of packaging. I think that will shorten the time taken for us to enter the market. And also they will definitely have market intelligence. They will know what are the common and most in-demand size containers, we'll be able to save a lot of time. And for us, that is one of the strategies we're taking to work with suitable partners to enter the Japanese market. At the same time, because we are providing a solution, we want to be seen as partners for a long-term solution. So when we try to ink out some form of partnerships, we do not want it to be exclusive in that it means that it deprives the products to other potential partners, but we want it to be seen as an open solution to get more partners on board to help us work towards our goal of reducing, if not removing, all the single-use plastics.
Right. In that case, since you are in Japan, and what kind of partners or what kind of corporates do you want to connect during this day? Is it more like a just a convenience store, just you told us?
Yeah, so for the few days that we are going to be here, I think we hope to link up with packaging companies.
Right.
If there are any representatives out here who are from F&B industry, please feel free to come to the front after this panel. I'll be very happy to hand out my name card. Also welcome you to visit our booth. We are at D7. Take a look at all our products. We'll be very happy to provide you with samples. We already have received the US FDA and the Singapore SFA, Singapore Food Agency, certification for food contact safe. Right, we have already submitted our material to Tooth Suit for biodegradability and home compostability certification, which we expect to receive within a month's time. We will also be conducting this carbon footprint certification under auspices of Tooth Suit, so that similar to what Travin is doing, we want to be able to provide data, which we think will be very important for corporates to report in their ESG reporting. Basically, not something that you say that you're doing, but you have data to back up what you say. So for example, if you're a corporate, you can say that over the past 12 months, we have stopped using 500 tons of plastic containers. We have switched over to this biodegradable material. Along the way, we have saved how many 100 tons of carbon dioxide being released into the atmosphere. So those are the kind of data sets that we want to provide to our partners as well.
Interesting. Okay, so maybe Travin, you can announce yourself. I mean, what kind of company you're looking for collaboration?
I guess if there's anybody from a tax office here, but mostly F&B as well, big hotel groups. We're actually meeting Hyatt Hotel Group next week already in Japan. Big F&B supermarket chains, and also mostly e-commerce, because a lot of e-commerce companies right now also have their own mart or shopping grocery per se. So we can actually work with the Rakutens and Amazons also. And definitely manufacturers. So we'll be more than happy to actually work with any other, whether is it a brewery or even a non-alcohol beverage maker also, not just in Tokyo, but across Japan.
Right, thank you very much. And okay, even though I only have like 5 minutes, but yeah, actually for myself, I came back from Singapore yesterday. And for this time, I get to travel around A-Stars and NUS, all the university. And actually I was again amazed how much Singapore technology is very have high technologies and very good labs and good environment. So how about in technology-wise? Because for Travin, you have a specific bacteria which can digest to make your beverage. And for Stephen, I guess your core technology will be about the degradation of
processing
waste?
of the spent grains and the agricultural waste into this new material.
Right.
Yeah.
And those are from a Singaporean technology?
The R&D started in Singapore. We have since expanded our team. So our CTO is a professor from one of the universities in China.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is it possible for both of you to look into a Japanese technology and have a technology collaboration?
Definitely. I think we can actually work together also. All the beer that I make, I've spent grain as well, and we can go to him. Yeah, so I can always help to save the initial cycle, then he can help to save the after manufacturing cycle. Yeah.
Yeah. I think definitely if any potential partners can bring our product to a higher level. So if our material today is generation 2.0, if there is a potential Japanese company with the right technology that can bring our product to version 3.0, 3.5, I think we'll definitely be open to considering working together. Essentially, we are driven by this passion to want to solve plastic waste problem. And if there are solutions out there that can help us meet this goal, at the same time bring something to the market that can be accepted by the masses, I think we'll be open to working together.
Because yes, Japan has lots of great technology, and some of it might not even be used. There might be some old technology which is already inside company but not be used. Maybe we, by collaborating with the Singaporean or foreign startups, we can come up with the new products together. And yes, we can provide it inside Japan, but together, if we have you as an entrepreneur inside Singapore, we can have you as one of the hubs to expand our business into more Southeast Asia and to the world as well.
I think you brought up a very good point, Ueno-san, because when I think about Japanese corporates, right, and the technologies, the Japanese universities and technologies, it's really top-notch and world-class. I've visited many good universities, University of Tokyo, Kyoto University, etc. And but at the same time, Japanese people, the culture is that, I remember my Japanese teacher always teach me, he said, if someone says, "Nihongo o jouzu desu ne," your Japanese is very good, you're not supposed to say thank you. You're supposed to say,
"そんなことないです."
Yes. そんなことないです. "Ie, mada mada desu." No, my Japanese is still very bad. But at the same time, this translates into many elements of Japanese life and marketing. So even the universities or the corporates say, my technology is amazing, it's 100 points, right? But they say, no, not really. We still have so much to improve, so much to develop. We are 60 points only. But my point is that then, all right, how about work with Singapore? Some of our great startups, be it like, Steven, be it Travin, we can actually help you with commercialization. We can help you with applications development. We can help you with market searching in Southeast Asia. And most importantly, also the marketing and the communications. Like the 100 points technology, if Travin comes in, he can actually integrate with his Crust platform and then maybe do a sales pitch then to Indonesia, to Vietnam. Yeah, so there's some of these synergies that I feel we can reap between the Singapore-Japan co-innovation relationships.
Right. Yes, I totally agree. So from Japanese perspective, Japanese corporate, Japan, I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of Japan. We have a great technology, and now we have lots of startups who are looking into world right now. But at the same time, Singapore have a very strong and helpful government who is trying to invite lots of business inside Singapore and also expand their business outside. So what I believe is that Japan and Singapore, if we can have strong relationships together, and we can exchange our technology and startup entrepreneurs together, and we can be one of the hub middle of Southeast Asia, and we believe that we can be one of the hub and then go to more other countries inside Southeast Asia, or maybe to the US, UK side as well. Yeah. So I believe that this will be one of the good strategy how we can collaborate with Singapore and Japan. Yeah. And I will make this as a wrap up for this session. So look, five seconds left. This will be the end of the session. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.